Hello, 102 students. Module 1 opens this week, so I wanted to give you a brief introduction to the module. I'm going to walk you through some of the activities that you'll be doing and introduce some of the assignments for this module on D2L. Here we go. I'm going to go to Content on D2L and preview what you'll find in the Module 1 section. So you'll see that the new module is open to you. And when I first click on Module 1 Profile Essay, I have an outline of what to expect from Module 1. So you'll see that some of the different things that we'll be studying in this module are listed, the topics and the objectives, the module activities that you're expected to review, and then the module assignments that you'll be completing for a grade. So the next thing that I can do is I can click on the individual units that are in Module 1. So for example, the first unit is Audience and Purpose. So I'll click on that and open that up to show you. Again, there's a brief preview of what you should do and what to expect from this module. So you'll be reviewing some lectures and videos and also reviewing some OER material. OER stands for Open Educational Resource, and basically these are free resources available to educators and students that we can use to replace textbooks. Textbooks are really expensive, and if we don't have to use them, we're not going to. So I have found this very excellent open educational resource that we're going to use in place of a textbook this semester, and I will post all the relevant links to the OER on our D2L page. So this is basically taking the place of you reading textbook chapters. You're going to review these OER resources. So here there is a required OER, but there's also an optional OER. I only want you to review the concept of audience and purpose for this unit, but if you feel like you need some additional refreshers about the writing process, please review additional relevant materials from the OER writing process section as needed. So what you'll find in here is a video lecture from me about purpose and audience. There's also a PDF version of the PowerPoint that I use for the lecture that you can review, follow along with, or use to take notes if you want to. There's a link here to the Audience Awareness OER, so I'll just open that up very quickly to show you. So this takes you to a link that looks like this. You'll see that this links you to the writing process. The only section that you need is audience awareness for now. Writing for your audience, analyzing your audience, see it in practice, time to write. So here, this particular section of the writing process, you don't need to review the whole writing process, just the audience awareness section. However, as I mentioned before, if I go back to audience and purpose on D2L, then the writing process OER, this is the same link as the audience awareness OER, but I'm just reposting it to remind you that if you need some additional help, so for example, if I click on this, if I need the writing process overview, if I need to review pre-writing strategies, if I need more information about introductions, conclusions, thesis statements, paragraphing, revising and editing process. These are not things that we are going to go over in detail in class because I expect you to already have experience with these from previous classes that you might have taken, certainly from English 101. But if you feel like you need a refresher or a reminder, please review those on your own. The next unit in Module 1 is the first unit about the novel that we'll be reading, My Own Country. So by now, hopefully you have a copy of the novel and you can begin doing your assigned reading. So there are two sets of assigned readings for Module 1 Profile Essay. The first set of assigned readings are the preface in chapters 1 and 2. I'll just walk you through this very quickly. So as you read, I have a Word document here, Mock 1-2. Those are the discussion questions. So these are just questions that I want you to think about as you read. I'm not going to collect this from you. But I do think you should kind of think about all the answers to this question as you go through. So there's a set of questions for chapter 1 and a set of questions for chapter 2. Some of these questions have specific answers. Some of them don't. Some of them you may come up with a different answer depending on your perspective and your background and how you interpreted the reading. So for some of them, there is no right or wrong answer. The idea is just to get you to think about the material, to think critically, to analyze, to synthesize ideas as you go through the reading. So make sure that you open up this handout and review the questions as you read the chapters. Going back to the main part of that unit, the My Own Country unit. Okay, so you'll read preface on the chapters 1 or 2 and use the discussion questions handout as you go along. And then after you review the discussion questions and answer them to the best of your ability, remember those critical thinking skills, you're going to choose one question from each chapter. So for this assigned reading, you would choose a question from chapter 1 and choose a question from chapter 2. Then you're going to make a discussion post for this week for these assigned readings. Make sure you provide a thoughtful response to each question. Use those critical thinking skills. You'll find a link to the discussion post here. If you can't remember how to use a discussion post, or you haven't used a discussion post before, remember that in the orientation module, there are in resources, there are some links to D2L tutorials, how to use a discussion board. So if you need a refresher about that, you can't remember how to do that, make sure that you watch that tutorial first. For the discussion board assignment, there are instructions posted to the discussion board, but basically what you're doing for the discussion board, let me open up My Own Country again. For the discussion board, you'll see the instructions here. You're going to create a new thread under the topic for discussion post 1. You're going to title it with your name and the chapters, and then write your own response about what you have read. Again, answer one question from each chapter. So one question from chapter 1 and one question from chapter 2, and you find those questions here in the mock 1 and 2 discussion questions handout. Your post should be thoughtful and should demonstrate a deeper understanding. We're not talking about surface reading. I want you to go deeper and analyze your and interpret different ideas, explore things a little more in depth. When you're finished, you're then going to post a reply to a minimum of 2 of your classmates' responses. Your replies should be at least 2 sentences long and should also reflect thoughtfulness and consideration of the students' reflections. And then the last assignment, so this is a graded discussion post. And then you'll also be completing a Did You Read It quiz. So DYRI, Did You Read It quiz. Basically, these questions are pretty simple. If you read the chapters, you should be able to answer these questions. You'll only have 15 minutes to complete the quiz. So make sure that you do the reading before you read the chapters. And it is open book, so you are allowed to use your book as you complete the quiz, but keep in mind you only have 15 minutes to complete the quiz. So you won't be able to be reading while you complete the quiz and searching for answers. You should already have read the chapters and be familiar with things and just need to look up an answer very quickly should you need to. All right, so that's it for chapters 1 and 2. So again, you're going to read the preface and chapters. You're going to review the discussion questions. Choose a question from each chapter. So for this week, it's 2 questions because there's 2 chapters. And then answer those in a discussion post, reply to 2 of your classmates at least, and take the Did You Read It quiz. There's another set of assigned reading for Module 1, which is chapters 3, 4, and 5. So there's a new handout here for chapters 3, 4, and 5, the discussion questions handout. There's another discussion post that you need to complete, this time for chapters 3, 4, and 5. Keep in mind that there are now 3 chapters. That means you need to choose 3 discussion questions, one for chapter 3, one for chapter 4, and one for chapter 5. But the assignment is basically the same. And then there's another Did You Read It quiz for chapters 3, 4, and 5. The last section of Module 1 is the profile essay. So this is the writing assignment that you have for Module 1. You'll learn about the style of a profile essay, and then you'll write your own for your first writing assignment. So here's an outline of what you'll do in this module. First, you're going to watch a video about profile essays. There is a PDF that you can follow along with or use as a reference for later. So here is a video lecture that I have created for you, and this is the PDF file that I use in the video. The next thing that you're going to do is review some OER materials about descriptive and narrative writing. Then you should read the profile essay requirement. So that's here, the profile essay requirements. You're going to be writing a first draft and a final draft. The first draft is for completion only, homework points only, and the final draft is graded with a rubric. So make sure you read the requirements carefully, check the due dates so that you know what the expectations are. Going back to the profile essay section. If you're having trouble thinking of a topic, I did provide some topic suggestions for you here. You don't have to choose your topic from this list. These are just suggestions in case you're having trouble coming up with something on your own. I'd also like for you to review example student essays. So if you go to this folder, there are 4 example student essays. The first example is rather long. I think it's like 10 pages. I don't expect you to write 10 pages for this assignment. However, I think the writing is very good and the storytelling is very good, so I posted that example anyway. The second, third, and fourth examples are more closer to the length that I'm looking for this particular assignment. There's also a rubric posted here. This is what the rubric that I will be grading you with looks like, so make sure you review that carefully so that you know my expectations for the profile essay. And then finally, your 2 assignments. So you're going to submit the profile essay first draft by October 3rd. I will review it and give you some feedback, and then you can use my feedback to make some changes for your final draft. You'll also be submitting that final draft on October 10th. And so make sure you check due dates. At the end of Module 1, you can find a folder that has all of the assignments in one place. Discussion post 1, Did You Read It quiz 1, the profile essay first draft, discussion post 2, Did You Read It quiz 2, and then the profile essay final draft. Pay careful attention to due dates. Some of the due dates are in the first week of Module 1, and some of the due dates are in the second week of Module 1. So just be aware of that as you're working through the assignments for Module 1. Of course, if you have any questions at all as you are working through these modules, please do not hesitate to send me an email or stop by virtual office hours. Remember that I have office hours scheduled throughout the semester. You do not have to make an appointment with me. Just log in to the Zoom link during that time, and I will be happy to discuss anything related to the course, the materials, the assignments, but also if you just have any general questions about Oakton, about things going on, stop by and talk to me, especially because this is an asynchronous class. I'd be happy to meet with you virtually for a little bit to help you get information that you need. All right, that's it for this orientation, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me.